Hey there, so Matt once again. Welcome back to another review for my little mini Rutger Hauer marathon, and this time it is Surviving the Game. Now, Surviving the Game came out in 1994, which was a year after Hard Target, which you see a little bit right here, which is one of my all-time favorite films, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, directed by John Woo. That came out in 1993, and both of these stories are pretty much the most dangerous game. A group of people hunting an individual hunting man for sport. Now, Hard Target I definitely put above this, because Hard Target definitely has the action and has a hero who can fight and fisticuffs and over the top, two pistol bang bang, blood squibs, explosions, kicks, helicopter kicks, all that stuff. This one, the character by Ice-T is more using his wits, his sense of survival, because the character was a homeless guy. So obviously he had to survive on the streets because of that. Now, what makes the film work is the cast. Ice-T does a pretty decent job as the lead. I would definitely say of the films he's done, this is his best acting role. The villains, it's a great list of villains. You got Rutger Hauer, of course, may he rest in peace. Wonderful job as sort of the leader of these hunters. You also have Gary Busey, who, wonderful character actor. The only problem is his character dies way, way, way too soon. He's like the first of them to go when he should have been one of the last to go. That's one of the flaws I have with the movie. But when he's there, Gary Busey's a lot of fun. You also have Charles S. Dunn from Alien 3. You have F. Murray Abraham from Amadeus. The gist of the story is Ice-T's character is a homeless guy, and bad luck just happening all around. Back in the day, his wife and kid were killed. You later found out why. It was a fire at this place he was living at. He was always meaning to get it fixed up. It never did, so sad, sort of unfortunate incidents where the faulty home created a fire. He tried to save them, couldn't, but he blames himself for their deaths when really it's not his fault. But he blames himself, and that's what led to him becoming homeless. Also, like, this dog he likes gets hit by a taxi cab, like in the beginning of the film. This old man he's friends with, which they're trying to get some food, and this asshole security guard, very, very over the top. "I'm gonna kill you. I want someone to die today." I'm like, they didn't do anything. Take a fucking chill pill. Get the dildo studded with razors up your ass. Get that taken out by a doctor, buddy. Relax. But Ice-T kicks his ass. I think he even says, "I'm gonna take this, put up your ass like a popsicle." But his old friend dies in his sleep, buries him. He's got nothing to live for. He decides to end his life, but Charles Dutton saves him. Charles Dutton works at this soup kitchen and gives him an opportunity. "Hey, me and my friends, we're going to go out into the woods, in the wilderness. We need someone to help guide us. When you meet this guy," which Ice-T goes on to meet Rutger Hauer. Rutger Hauer's like, "Oh, I'm not sure if you're ready for this. How much do you smoke? Can you run? How much stamina do you have?" "Okay, I'll give you $20. Get on this treadmill." Ice-T was like, Ice-T. Ice-T said, "For $20, I'll run across the whole city." He gets the job, goes to the Pacific Northwest with these men to assist them on their hunt, and then come to find out that he's the one they're going to hunt. And then it's a tale of survival. The movie works for a number of reasons. Like I said, the number one thing is the cast. Great cast they put together in this flick. Great set of bad guys. You also have John C. McGinley from On Deadly Ground, among other films, as one of the bad guys. The director by Ernest Dickerson, who did Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, which I have a review of that on the channel. That's a good movie. He's a pretty, other than Bones with Snoop Dogg, he's a pretty good director. And he keeps the film going at a decent pace. It's not a long movie at all. It's only an hour and 30-some minutes. Also, filming the Pacific Northwest locations. It's a good-looking movie. The director really showcases the locale, the wilderness. Uh, it's a well-shot film, good cinematography. The score I'm mixed on. Stuart Copeland, which I've seen him do better. I've heard him do better in The First Power. He did the score for The First Power of Lou Down Phillips, which I love that score. I love that movie. Stuart Copeland, the music is a mixed bag. I'm not a big fan of the musical score. That's one of the flaws I have with it. Gary Busey and Rutger Hauer, especially as the villains, were wonderful. Before the hunt, they have this big dinner. Definitely one of the best scenes of the film where Gary Busey tells Ice-T this story about when he was a kid and he had this dog, and his old man made him go outside with his dog, and the father pitted him and his dog to fight to the death. And he did, and got this scar, and that's why Gary Busey calls the scar on his face a birthmark. I can't do the monologue justice, but Gary Busey, wonderful acting in that sequence. And Ice-T, I like him in the film. He has some nice lines of dialogue when the chase is on. Like when he's running, he's getting tired, like, should have never picked up smoking. Or he sees a wolf, he's like, it's okay, man. Just don't get the fuck out of your woods, okay? So Ice-T does a good job acting-wise. Action-wise, maybe because they intentionally wanted to be someone who wasn't a special forces guy, so he just used his wits, which on one hand is interesting, so it wasn't just a remake of Hard Target. It did feel like its own animal. I definitely put this over Hard Target 2 any day. But there's that part of me, too, that even though Ice-T did a good job acting, like he gives his monologue where he explains what happened to his wife and kid to one of the guys he catches, which is John C. McGinley. And, he tells him what happened to his wife and kids. But there's that part of me, because this film did not do well when it came out. I don't even think this has a Blu-ray. Could be wrong. And all it has for features is a trailer. And this is from New Line Cinema, who released this back in the day. I wonder if you had someone like Wesley Snipes. Because Wesley Snipes, by this point, he had done Passenger 57, Demolition Man in 1993 as Simon Phoenix. And in 1994, he did Drop Zone, which I'm not really a big fan of Drop Zone. It's like a time waster. That also had Gary Busey in it, funny enough. I wonder if that's why he had a small role in this, because he was maybe busy being the bad guy in Drop Zone. But I think this is a better movie than Drop Zone. But I just think, like, instead of Drop Zone, what if he did this movie? That would have been cool. Wesley Snipes in a... Can you imagine Wesley Snipes in this role? He would have the acting. Wesley Snipes is a good actor. Plus, he could instill the action scenes with good fights and fisticuffs. And again, I get the whole using wits more than fists. I get that. But I do think it would have been nice to see at least a couple decent fisticuffs. And when the fight scenes do happen, they're very shoddy in their execution. Yeah, maybe that's because Ice-T couldn't fight. But he has a struggle with Gary Busey. Nothing really to mention other than some good lines of dialogue. Like Gary Busey goes, "I like my meat rare." And then Ice-T punches him a few times, throws him into the burning cabin, and he goes, "Try well done, bitch." That's a good line. There's a little fight scene he has with F. Murray Abraham in the dark, which I couldn't see a fucking thing. Sorry, I don't have night vision in my eyes. I'm not Riddick. Can't see your sequence in the dark. So I didn't care for that. And that's what I mean. Maybe if you had a Wesley Snipes type of guy, that would have been cool. Still, you know, the survival aspect, maybe for some pretty decent sequences. Like he fucks up Charles Dutton's vehicle and it blows up and it blows Charles Dutton's legs off. So Rutger Hauer has to kill him to ease his suffering. He shoots the shit out of his tree so it could topple over to supposedly get across, but he tricks them. He tricks the bad guys to going on the tree because he makes the bad guys think he went over there. And so he's throwing shit at them to try to knock them off. So he's using his brain and his survival instincts from the years of being out on the streets. Which again, if that's the aspect they were going with, I get why it wasn't a carbon copy of Hard Target. And again, not bad. Not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, in retrospect, it would have been interesting to see if Wesley Snipes had done this film instead of Drop Zone. But I know that's not giving a lot of credit to Ice-T, because Ice-T did pull off. I liked him in the movie. I thought he had a nice, strong presence to him. I don't think he was that bad of an actor in the movie either. And he held his own against all these great, Gary Busey, Rutger Hauer, all these other guys. He held his own. It's just that when he tries to get physical a couple times, whether it's the direction or whether just Ice-T couldn't do it, it's just not that satisfying. I don't know why this says explosive special effects. There are no what explosive special effects. I guess maybe when Charles Dutton's little vehicle blows up, or there's a plane that blows up where Rutger Hauer tries to kill Ice-T, but Ice-T survives. Maybe that. I'm trying to think what else. I do find it funny that at the end of the film, Rutger Hauer escapes, and it's like 3 days later, and he escaped, took a plane, whatever. And yet Ice-T gets there too, and he's wearing like the same garb he wore 3 days ago. I'm like, how the fuck did you get here 3 days later? You have no money. You're a homeless guy. You don't even have a change of clothes. How the fuck did you get here 3 days later? Did you teleport? Via osmosis of the script? The script itself opened up a portal for you to jump in and be all the way over here? But whatever. I let that go. It does have a good ending where he tricks Rutger Hauer's character, again, using his brain. You know, Barnes, there's one thing you should do when you when you find a gun. You know, Barnes, there's one thing you should always do when you find a gun. And then Rutger Hauer shoots, blows himself up, because, as Ice-T says, always check the barrel. And again, using his wits, he fucked up the gun for when Rutger finds it and shoots, blows up in his hand and kills him. Pretty much killing himself. So that was kind of a nice way to end the movie. So other than wishing Gary Busey was in the film a lot more because he's the first hunter to die, I think that could have been F. Murray Abraham's character. Because he has a son who's with him who's kind of a weak pussy. You could have F. Murray Abraham die, and then that makes the son want to go after Ice-T's character. And that way you could keep Gary Busey in the film more. He should have been like the second to last to die. Like him and Ice-T have like a big fight or something out in the woods. William McNamara as the son of F. Murray Abraham's character, he was kind of weak in the acting. His voice was a bit whiny at times. Dad! Hey, Dad! Especially when he dies, he falls off this log. He has a really shitty effect. Like blue screen, whatever you want to call it. But again, that and wishing there were more fisticuffs or like better done fisticuffs, not the crappy can't see shit fight that he has with Murray Abraham or the nothing fight he has with Gary Busey. That would have been nice. The score, which was a bit better. Other than that, though, the cast worked well. The pacing's pretty fast. Never got bored with it. Like I said, the locations out in the wilderness are well shot. Ernest Dickerson, capable director. Satisfying ending where, a nice line, always check the barrel. I get the idea of the character trying to use his wits more than his fist. Like I said, at least it's not a carbon copy of Hard Target here. Some aspects of the script were decent, like John C. McGinley, when he was caught and Ice-T told him his story and he let John C. McGinley go. John C. McGinley changes his mind and goes, you know what? We need to let him go. He could have killed me, but he didn't. I thought that was a nice, interesting change of pace. It wasn't typical for this kind of flick. And, of course, Rutger Hauer doesn't let him go and shoots him right in the head. But that aspect where a character, like a bad guy, like changes his mind, not a typical theme, but that's a piece of the script that I appreciate. Never underestimate. Let's see, let me read it right. It's a gut-wrenching action from start to finish. Well, it's not wall-to-wall action. As the game begins and the hunters learn a deadly lesson, never underestimate a man who's got nothing to lose. I think even Ice-T's character says that. Never underestimate a man who's got nothing to lose. That's true. Either way, if you like survival action movies, if you like movies like Hard Target, it's not action-packed as Hard Target, but if you saw Hard Target 2 and was pissed, you want to see a better version of that, just watch this. If you like Rutger Hauer, Gary Busey's not in the film too much. I wish he was in longer. If Ice-T throws you off, I'll say this. Ice-T does a good job. I definitely think it's Ice-T's best role that he's had. And overall, very solid. Bit of an underrated picture that no one ever talks about. Would have been nice to see this get special features, interviews, but that'll never happen. But anyway, Surviving the Game, definitely worth a look if you're a fan of the flick. If you're a fan of the... Definitely worth a look if you're a fan of action thrillers. If you're a fan of the story, The Most Dangerous Game, you like movies of that subgenre, this is definitely worth a look. So, either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.